All right, well, I guess we'll kick off introductions. So for those viewing, I am Rick. I am the manager for the Audacity Wine Bar, our new location in downtown Seattle. Unfortunately, didn't have much time to get the word out before all the craziness happened, but here we are. So, yeah.
And I'm Russ Chandler, and I'm from Woodinville Tasting Room, and I'm the assistant manager. I originally come from small boutique winery, and so I have a lot of experience out in the vineyard and with production and also sales. So we have a couple wines we're going to run through today, and I'm going to let Rick start off with the introduction.
Sure thing. So obviously, as with most tastings, you want to work from lighter to darker. So we're going to start off with our white. So to get things going, we have our Reserve Viognier 2019, an outstanding limited production that we do, all grown from our state vineyard, Destiny Ridge. And one of the cool things that I was excited about getting into this wine is that I didn't realize coming into it that it was Sur Lie for 2 months, so aged on the lees. So for folks that aren't familiar with that, it's allowed to sit on those dead yeast cells, so it just imparts a big sort of buttery characteristic. So it's a really nice bit of body to this wine. Really incredible bouquet. Kind of the main notes that I get on, I don't know about you, Russell, but I definitely pick up kind of those classic Viognier notes of peach, a little bit of honey in there, and definitely some melon. But an outstanding wine.
I've kind of dubbed it the tangerine dream because I get a lot of tangerine off of it, a little bit of hibiscus, and it's just a beautiful color. Look at that. It's
I got my sheet right in front of me.
Pale straw.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, so I mean, a little bit of history on the Viognier grape. Primarily used out of the Rhone Valley. That's kind of where its roots lie. Very often blended with Marsanne and Roussanne and things like that, as we do in our winery as well. It's actually believed to originate in Croatia, which is kind of interesting. So I found that kind of surprising. I always thought it was strictly a Rhone grape. So that was kind of an interesting tidbit of history on that one.
It's just a great wine, especially if you're a Chardonnay drinker. This is about as close as you're going to get for a variety that's close to Chardonnay. And with the Sur Lie, you're going to get that buttery kind of semi-oakiness because we do oak it on some neutral French oak. It's almost deceptive because you almost think that it's probably gone through a malolactic fermentation, which we don't want to nerd out here, but
yeah, but I'm glad you brought that up because when I was working, tables in the restaurants in my past, that was my go-to substitute for Chardonnay. If we didn't have a Chardonnay by the glass, Viognier was my first go-to. So a lot of people, it's not a terribly popular grape, not nearly to the level that Chardonnay is. So people are always pleasantly surprised when they dive into that glass.
And this is a great wine, white wine for a red wine drinker as well.
Absolutely.
I think that we kind of tend to be maybe a little bit more critical of white wines. And this one just stands out. It's a great part of this club release. The taste, absolutely amazing. I get a lot of tangerine up front, a little bit of kiwi, stone fruit, and just that creaminess to it. Yeah. And then with some little bit of hibiscus and just a slight minerality on the end.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, there's enough there to kind of work with that smooth texture. You got enough of that.
I don't know. Well, what are you getting out of it?
I definitely kind of get that tropical element. I get a little bit more of the melon in terms of that bright fruitiness. Yeah, that honey, that's kind of the biggest thing for me. And that's why Viognier, along with, again, not to nerd out too much, but, some Chenin Blancs from Vouvray and things like that, things with that kind of that peachy and honeyed characteristic, I'm all about the pork. My go-to pairing on this one would be probably some baked pork with like probably a honey butter glaze. And I just think that would just knock it out of the park.
So I actually tried it with some little bit of goat cheese, and that seemed to work pretty good. I made some Thai food. So I love Thai food, made some pad Thai, spring rolls, and it was okay. But where it would really shine, Moroccan, Middle Eastern, especially going back to the honey date sauce on lamb and with couscous. So
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring up, you brought up, just kind of how incredible the texture, just the overall presence of the wine is. And I think that's a huge testament to the winemakers and the folks in the fields out there, because Viognier historically is very temperamental on viticultural practices and climate. So very dependent on those things. So kind of speaks to the craftsmanship that goes on under the roof out there. So just kind of hats off, as usual, to our winemaking team. It's just across the board. It's just good juice.
Okay, cheers, guys. Enjoy.
Yeah.